Hello and welcome to another Dawn and Julia Create. So Dawn has set the challenge this time and she's asked us to make 5 backing papers using pigment stroke mica powders. Now I absolutely love my powders and yeah, I think they are an essential to anyone, especially if you love your mixed media and you're a colour magpie like I am. When I see a new product, I want it in every colour and that can get a little bit pricey. But using mica stroke pigment powders, you can make anything that is out there really. I like to illustrate it like if you were to go into a shop and buy a chocolate cake. It's easy, it's there, it's ready, tastes delicious, perfect, absolutely good to go. And that's like buying your finished product, the acrylic paint, the watercolours, the coloured texture paste, whatever it is you buy. It's off the shelf, it's ready, it's good to go. However, you can also choose to walk down the baking aisle and get all the ingredients. And if you do that, you're not stuck to the one thing or the one colour. You can then make lemon cake, chocolate cake, red velvet cake, muffins, get whatever you want. You can create it from the raw ingredients. And using your pigment stroke mica powders like that means it opens up a whole new world. You can start to make all these various products in various colours much more cheaply, and yeah, so I think they are an essential part of your crafting life. So today I am going to be doing that. I'm going to be mixing those with the basics that we've said, the gesso, the gel medium and just plain old water, and yeah, let's just get started. As I say, I absolutely love my mica powders and I have many brands, and today I am using the Pretty Gets Gritty ones and the Dirty Gerty ones as well. They are both available on my website and I will link down below. So I am just checking my book where I have my swatches. Absolutely recommend that you swatch all your products, but especially with your mica powders because they look so different from the bottle to when they are activated. So I chose a few colours and I have gone for, I think it's Mermaid, Dragon and Lady Margarita. So with this technique, I've just laid a stencil down, sprinkled over some of the powders, and now I am activating these with water. And you can see the colour really bursts out there when you add that little bit of water. I'm also kind of making a 2-for-1 with this make. So I've got a separate piece of paper and I'm just like grabbing the extras to create a second page. So that is that. So it's kind of, they're the same but different. So we're going to have 2 papers and we've got the reverse of each other. I am just repeating the process of this just so that I have the pattern covering the entire page. So you never need a lot with your mica powders. I've probably over-egged the pudding there, to be honest. And I'm trying not to put too much water on because with using a stencil, it is going to leak underneath. Just to finish the designs on these particular ones, I'm just adding a little bit of water in my paint palette and just adding a few splashes onto the page to kind of finish it off. So these 2 pages were incredibly simple but fun to do, and probably one of the most basic ways of using your mica powders is just simply adding water. But it's amazing watching the magic happen when you do that. First 2 backing papers done, and I am going to use texture paste in the 3rd one. So I'm just taking a whole load of texture paste and then I am going to mix that in with some of the mica powders. And the amazing thing about mica powders is they burst into all their component colours. So if you want a solid colour, you really need to sort of work it quite well. So as you can see, I'm just really making sure that that powder is mixed really well into the texture paste. If you are using a mica powder, you are going to lose some of the shimmer doing this, so you're going to end up with a flat colour. I decided to mix up 2 different colours and I'm just putting both of the colours through the stencil and just letting it blend on the stencil, so we're getting a very loose, variegated look, but I have chosen 2 colours that blend together, so it should work really well. And I'm just going to keep repeating that process until we've used up the texture paste and that we have covered our backing page with lots of gorgeous texture. And once that is dried, I have got the Mermaid pigment powder. So this has got a blue and a gold to it, and it works, and there's a really nice contrasting colour to the yellow and the pink that we've already got down. And then I'm just activating that with water and moving it around, and it's going into all the grooves of the texture paper, so it'll make a really interesting backing paper. Just kind of didn't like the drips, so adding a little bit of extra water to loosen it up. Now I'm just going to play with Yupo paper. So I'm just putting both out actually. I'm going to put Yupo paper and normal watercolour card out just to see the difference. We're still just playing with water, but this time I've wet the page first so you can see the colour burst as soon as I put the mica powders on. And it's amazing the difference you get on Yupo paper, so I just thought I'd experiment and see what happens. Again, I've gone for the 3 primary colours, which is a little bit risky because they're all mixing on the page. We could end up with mud, but yeah, I thought I'd try it anyway. I did actually just add a little bit of extra water. I think the initial wetting that I had done had dried up a little bit. So I'm just showing you my swatch book again. As you can see, the mica powders, when mixed with different products, do turn out a slightly different colour. This time we're going to try using a gel medium. Now this ends up with a sort of semi-translucent effect and a gloss effect when you mix this with your mica powders. So I've taken the background paper that we've just made just by adding water, and now I am adding, I think this is Venus, and we're adding it and mixing it to gel medium. So very similar technique to what we did when we did the texture paste. Honestly, if you can spread butter on your toast, you can do these techniques. It is so easy. So I'm just popping that through the stencil now, and this is going to be slightly different to when it's dry, because as I said, it looks kind of almost pastel now, because the gel medium is kind of white when it's wet, but when it's dry it's clear, so we're going to get a really nice glossy finish. I didn't want to waste what I'd made up, so I just sort of spread it over the page just to sort of finish off the page and use up what we've got. So Dawn has said that we are going to be using these papers in another project, so do stay tuned for that. I don't know how we're going to be using it, and also do pop across and see how the lovely Dawn has used her mica powders as well. I think we did have Distress Inks on the list, but I have not used mine, so it'll be interesting to see how Dawn did hers. So these are my 5 papers. We had the 2 initial ones, we've got this one here with the texture paste, and we have the one with the Yupo, which I quite like, but as I say, I have no idea how Dawn plans for us to use these next time. And then that's the final one that we were just working on as well. As I was working though, I did end up with a few mop-up pages, so we do have a few spare if they are needed. And I also cleaned up the texture paste into one of my journals. So depending, I actually quite like these pages. So depending on what the next challenge is, we may get to use them. Stay tuned for that, and in the meantime you might enjoy watching this video here.